Okay, this is question 4 of my A2 media evaluation. And the question is as follows: how did you use new media technologies in the construction, research, planning, and evaluation stages? Um, okay, well, the way this seems to make most sense to me is to go through and list the different websites, pieces of hardware, and software that we used in planning, creating, researching, all of that stuff, and discuss each of them and discuss how I used it and in what manner it ended up affecting the overall product. Okay, well, for hardware, our pretty much only source of hardware was the Mac, the iMac. Um, this is a fairly new bit of technology that's only come around in the last 10 years or so, and its editing power. It's specifically made for designers, artists, filmmakers, and everything like that. Apple did create the iMac technology with those sort of things in mind, obviously rendering and editing and stuff like that. And so yes, our film was edited on an iMac. Um, in terms of cameras, we used a Canon 600D with a fold-out screen. So both of those things, um, they basically allowed us to create and get the raw footage down for our film, and we felt as though probably even 10 years ago such a thing just wouldn't have been possible. Like, the technology wouldn't have been anywhere near there. um okay, moving on to software. This is where it gets a little more extensive. So our film was edited on Adobe Premiere Pro. Premiere Pro is, it's an insanely advanced piece of editing software that actual actual film studios use when editing their films together. And so just from that you can sort of tell the level of power that this particular piece of software has. Um, the thing with Premiere Pro is that it our entire course was based around our ability to use Premiere Pro. Without it, it wouldn't have been feasible. Any of the alternatives, so such as iMovie or Windows Movie Maker or anything like that, they wouldn't have, or even Sony Vegas, they do not have anywhere near the amount of power that Premiere Pro does. And so we felt as though this would be the obvious choice for creating our film. Considering it was made available to us, we thought it would be remiss of us not to use it. So yes, the entire editing process took place on Premiere Pro. Um, Continuing with the Adobe theme, Photoshop CS4, I believe. That it was it's the main tool that I and my partner both used for creating our ancillary tasks. Photoshop really needs no introduction. It's a highly advanced and sophisticated piece of photo editing software, but it doesn't end there. The photos are just editing photos on Photoshop is literally just the tip of the iceberg. You can create an entire artistic visions just through the power of Photoshop. So it was key to making our ancillaries have the aesthetic that we desired and that would fit our genre. And so yes, that was the main thing we used in creating our ancillaries. Obviously, we went out and took photos and got feedback from the various sources before finalizing our ancillary tasks. But none of this would be possible without Photoshop. So yeah, those were the two main software programs used throughout. Right, now the third and probably most extensive category is websites. Web 2.0 really does, it's opened up a huge amount of possibilities. Web 2.0 being the second stage of the internet. Web point 1, sorry, just for clarification, is the idea that people are able to consume things from the internet. Web 2.0 is the fact that it's been made within the last sort of 10 to about around 10 years or so. It's been made a hell of a lot easier for people to put content back in. So stuff like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, stuff like that. Where content generated by the users is what Web 2.0 centralizes around. So for the first one, the one that you're probably most familiar with if you enjoyed my blog so far, which is Blogger. Blogger's a free piece of software, a blogging tool owned by Google, and sort of it's a very versatile tool. And without it, projects and planning and everything, it would not exist in the manner it does now, in the manner you've just seen, like throughout all of the design process. It would have been made a lot harder without Blogger to sort of document that and be able to show it off and make it easily accessible to anyone who wanted to, view it. The next and probably also most integral piece of website software that we used, which you are using right now, is YouTube. YouTube is an open source video sharing and uploading website that's been around since 2005, and it is insanely popular. Web 2.0 basically allowed anyone to put up their own content, and YouTube completely capitalized off this, and there are thousands of people who literally their entire career is based around creating YouTube videos, and it's simply as easy as grabbing an MP4 file and uploading it, and for the entire world to see. So yes, that's YouTube played an extremely prevalent role in how we ended up creating a lot of our sharing a lot of the videos and footage and stuff like that. Now for another website which is probably the most popular, it's the most used out of the three I've mentioned so far, is Facebook. Now Facebook wasn't so key in creating anything, but what it was integral to was receiving feedback from our audience. Obviously, because our short film was, we made it based around what we enjoyed, but also what the people around us enjoyed as well. Because obviously, and there's a certain age gap for us, and a large amount of our friends and acquaintances who we are friends with on Facebook also, they were made able to access this through Facebook. So yeah, a large amount of the feedback that we received that was not first-hand, the stuff from Facebook, that was integral to us refining our product and really sort of getting it up to scratch and responding to the things people had to say on it. So yeah, those are the main media technologies that sort of influenced us and made it possible for us to create things. Two other things, I say things, they're more like in tools, I guess. Three other tools, Prezi, Emaze, and Pictochart. These three are also pieces of online software that are, presentational software really, and I used all three of them fairly extensively to basically sort of, because obviously the nature of a blog is it's supposed to be engaging for the reader, and if you just have blocks of text and images running down the screen, yes, you're imparting the information that you need, but you're not imparting it in an engaging manner. And so tools like Prezi and Emaze, they allow users and myself specifically to impart the knowledge we want in a manner that's aesthetically pleasing as well as coherent, I guess you could say. In terms of one last thing to mention, smartphones. I guarantee that without a smartphone I would not have received half the feedback and be able to get access to as many of the comments as I was able to throughout the filming process. For example, at one point, I was able to take a picture on my smartphone during the filming of a certain shot and upload it to my blog within a minute. Whereas without that, it would have taken a series of days to be able to upload it properly and edit it. Whereas with a phone and with an app called ViscoCam, I was able to edit the photo into a stage that I was happy with it and upload it within minutes of it existing in the first place. So yeah, without a smartphone, as the smartphones sped up our process of uploading, sort of to an amount that's kind of inconceivable, I guess. Like, I can't imagine having to do this project without the use of a smartphone, and I think that really shows, sort of the impact that new technology has had on our project and how we've based it around it. We've obviously, at the start of this course, we took all of these things for granted, but looking back on it now, without the iMac, without the camera, without Photoshop, Premiere, even Facebook and YouTube, like the amount of content we were able to produce and circulate due to these things is miles ahead of anything that could have been achieved like 10 or 15 years ago. And so, yeah, that's really the main way in which we were able to sort of create our project, was through these use of new media technologies.